Now, the good news is this: Trump is apparently getting ready to divorce Elon Musk. There was reporting in Politico today. I'm not going to read the political article because it was a political magazine article, and I'd literally be here for 35 minutes because it was quite fucking extensive. But long story short, President Donald Trump told people within his inner circle that Elon Musk's time at the White House will be finished. Now we have reporting here courtesy of ABC News. They did their own corroboration of this. Let's hear what they have to say.
And we have breaking news right now. Sources tell ABC News Elon Musk could be taking a step back from his role in the administration. Musk is classified as a special government employee, which only lasts 130 days, but it's been widely rumored the White House could take steps to extend his role. Let's bring in ABC News senior reporter Catherine Falders for more on that. Catherine, what are you hearing?
Yeah, so we know what Trump has said publicly here, but the timing of this, in terms of what our sources are telling us that Trump is saying privately to advisors today, is significant because, of course, it comes on the heels of that Wisconsin Supreme Court race where the Democrat there won. And we know that
We'll talk
Musk
about
poured
that as
millions
well.
of dollars. Musk and his groups poured millions of dollars into that race. So significant that Trump is saying this behind the scenes, but also important context to this is just a couple days ago in the Oval Office, Trump was asked very specifically about Musk's status as a special government employee, that 130-day limit. And Trump did indicate on Monday that Musk would be taking a step back in some way. Trump said he thinks that Musk is amazing. And he said, quote, but I
Glaze.
also think he's got a big company to run. And so at some
Glaze.
point, he's going to be going back. He wants to go back to his company. So essentially, Trump indicated there that after that limit was up, that Musk could be taking a step back. Now, look, some of Musk's defenders, according to sources that we're talking to in the White House, say that it's overblown, that Musk is being pushed out. And look, we're not saying that he's being pushed out. He could be taking a step back. You and I both know that Trump has lots of advisors inside the White House and outside the White House who he talks to every day and seeks advice from. So that will still continue. But in terms of Musk's employment status and it being up potentially at the end of May, that is obviously what seems to be a little bit uncertain at this point. And it is important and important context that Trump is indicating behind the scenes that Musk will take some form of step back here.
So, could Musk stay with the administration, but in some other capacity?
Uh, Look, anything is possible. This gets back into our discussion about his status as a special government employee. I'm not sure, at least right now, that he will, unless the White House extends that in some way or he goes somewhere else in government. It appears that his status as a special government employee could be up at the end of May, but that again doesn't mean that he won't be advising President Trump. Trump isn't saying behind the scenes that he's soured on Musk. In fact, he remains satisfied and pleased with what Musk has done across the government in terms of cost cutting, despite it being challenged in the courts and despite the pushback here. So I'm sure he will remain a voice in President Trump's ear, regardless of what happens here in the next few weeks.
All right, senior.
The Politico article did say that Musk would remain in an advisory role. He wouldn't, I guess, be considered like one of Trump's advisors, but he would still be in and around Washington D.C., just not all the time. The reason for this is very simple. Elon Musk is a loser and nobody likes him. It doesn't matter how great or not of a job he's doing with Doge. He is a political liability, and the Trump administration recognizes this. His net favorability in just fucking 8 years, I think the poll was from CNN, went from plus 25 to minus 19. Why did people sour so much on Elon Musk? Well, it's because he's been exposed. Well, I don't even know if he was exposed but there was just a shift in him because back in 2017, 2018, he was like a cool guy. He was, going to space. He was all for green energy and Tesla. He wasn't a fucking Nazi Sig Heiling on stage at the president's inauguration. And then something flipped. I don't know what it was. Now he's literally a Nazi. I mean, he was born in apartheid South Africa, so he does probably retain some Nazi tendencies, but he just became a far right lunatic, retweeting anti-Semitic conspiracies, being openly transphobic, and just, again, really weird and gross. But he's a political liability because him and his ketamined up gaggle of prepubescent programmers are going around and getting rid of veterans' jobs, veterans' health care, trying to get rid of Social Security. They are delivering material damage to the American people, and the American people do not like that. It's a very simple answer. Elon Musk is widely criticized and glaringly unpopular because he's doing unpopular shit. The Trump administration is learning that he is not good for their political well-being, especially at a time when they themselves are becoming increasingly unpopular because they are allowing Elon to do all of this. They are allowing Elon to run the country like a Silicon Valley startup. And the majority of people, the majority of working class people, do not want their Social Security touched. They do not want their Medicaid to be touched. They do not want seniors, they do not want veterans to be unable to access healthcare to treat their PTSD. Quote, well, I think he's amazing, but I also think he's got a big company to run, and so at some point he's going to go back. He wants to. It's really not that it's really not that deep. And this also leads into the this also leads into Susan Crawford winning the Supreme Court, the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. Elon gave like $20 million to the GOP in this election, and they still fucking lost. This bald fuck, whatever his name is, I don't give a fuck about his name. Richard Skimmel, Brad Skimmel, he lost by double-digit percentage points. He got fucking dog walked in Wisconsin, which was a fucking swing state back in November. Elon is a loser, and Trump does not like losers. Once all of his governor picks and all of his Senate picks got pissed on in their elections, guess what? He dumped those motherfuckers. This was the wake-up call for Trump that, oh fuck, maybe having this coked up freakazoid who is schizo posting 300 times a day is not good for my political agenda.
Faced off during a tense debate last night in Milwaukee. That's liberal Judge Susan Crawford and conservative Judge Brad Schimmel sparring over reproductive rights and the millions of dollars being spent on the race by high-profile billionaires and outside groups.
You know, he is paying good lip service to the principles of impartiality and open-mindedness. But throughout this campaign, he has taken issues on cases pending before the Wisconsin Supreme Court, including cases like one involving an 1849 abortion law that, if it were in effect, would criminalize pretty much all abortions in Wisconsin.
My opponent was supported by George Soros. That man has funded DAs and judges. Oh, fair enough, but
Bro. Wait, hold on. Did he get called out?
Soros. That man has funded DAs and judges. Oh, fair enough, but
oh my god, dude, being a conservative, being a conservative running for public office is a brain disease. You got $20 million from Elon Musk. This fat fuck was wearing a goddamn cheese head on stage, telling people that he would give them $1 million each if they went out and voted for you. And you're gonna bring up George fucking Soros? Like, how fucking stupid do you have to be? Like, you're a judge. You're supposed to be a smart person. All I see is a dipshit all I see is this dipshit interview of you being a blatant hypocrite.
I'd like to talk about it. He's funded DAs and judges who have let dangerous criminals out on the street. He's funded efforts to defund the police in America. He's a dangerous person to have an endorsement from.
This election, which is technically nonpartisan, you could be fooled if you were listening to that and thought otherwise, but it's scheduled for April 1st. The race is key because it'll determine the court's ideological balance for the second time in 2 years and possibly the future of several issues related to abortion rights, unions, and congressional maps. So, Adam, talk about how consequential this election is for Wisconsin and how things are looking there in this final stretch. I remember the last time we were covering a Supreme Court race in this state, abortion was a key turner and motivator for voters.
This is a big and interesting race. It's the first statewide battleground contest we'll see since 2024, and it's occurring in the state that was decided by the smallest margin in 2024. That makes everything unpredictable. It's going to be a close race. Making things exceedingly interesting is the fact that it's on pace to be the most expensive most expensive state Supreme Court race in U.S. history. As you mentioned, both sides have been flooded with outside money.
That alone should highlight how much of a litmus test this election is for 2026 and 2028. There were a couple elections prior to this, one in Pennsylvania and one in Florida, where Democrats beat Republicans in Trump districts. One of them was a Pennsylvania state senator, and the other one was, I believe, a Florida congressperson. They both won in in double-digit Trump districts in 2024. But of course, those are very local elections, and it's difficult to extrapolate that, especially in a state like Pennsylvania, which is the swingiest of all swing states, and a state like Florida, which is effectively now like the safest Republican state. This election in a swing state, I think, especially with the scale of it, and also remember, like this is a Supreme Court. This is a Supreme Court election. This gives us quite possibly our best look into 2026, especially with the issues that this encompasses. Now, abortion is huge. There is, I don't think, any state ballot measure on abortion that has ruled in the pro-life way. If there is, there are very few. I mean, fucking Kansas in 2022 voted for the right to have access to an abortion. I think Nebraska did the same in 2024. Like, that is still a hot button issue for the general electorate, and rightfully so.
The conservative candidate, Brad Schimmel, has had boosting him two super PACs affiliated with Elon Musk that have taken aim at his liberal opponent. And it's just made things really interesting. A lot of the ads on both sides are taking aim at the other's billionaires, making them the boogeyman. Liberals and Democrats in the race have spent millions of dollars lambasting Musk's role in the race, while conservative groups have taken aim at George Soros, LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for their roles in donating to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, which in turn, under Wisconsin state law, can transfer that cash to the liberal candidate in the race. All that to say is that it's an expensive and interesting race. Abortion is on the line. The state's congressional maps may be on the line, and a decades-old law that basically curtailed public bargaining rights for public employees is also on the line. There's a lot at stake, and it'll be the second time in 2 years that the ideological majority on the court is at stake.
The congressional districting is also massive, at least for Republicans, because they're notorious gerrymanderers, and they would be able to rig the Wisconsin congressional map in their favor. I mean, we saw this happen in my home state of New York that gained a couple, I think it was like 2 or 3 Republican seats because they redistricted the entire fucking state, which of course inherently against. I think gerrymandering is fucking it's fucking ridiculous, and all it does is serves to handicap the Democrats. The only reason that Republicans are able to remain in power in any degree is because they hand draw the districts to encompass Republican voters. It's fucking ridiculous. But Elon Musk being linked to this is huge for Trump because this is the first time that Trump is realizing that this guy is a fucking loser. And I've called him a loser 3 or 4 times now because he is. He's just widely unpopular. He seems weird and sweaty and gross and very, very off-putting. Even in every interview, not that I'm one to like go off of interviews, but you can just tell when someone is genuine, regardless of how uncomfortable they are on camera. You can still know when someone is genuine. And Elon, every time he gets sat down for an interview, every time like he's asked a basic question, he has no idea how to react to it. He has no idea what to say, and then he ultimately just like fumbles around and settles on waste, fraud, and abuse. But people are catching on to that. They're like, my husband had a loan given to him from the federal government for this business, and Elon took it away. People don't like that. People just do not like the brazen disregard that Elon Musk is showing them in his in how he's running Doge.